Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to the Pelvic Pulse podcast. Crazy, crazy, crazy to think about the past 48 episodes and how we are sliding into season three. If you are new here, I'm Dr. Brittney Ellers. I'm so glad you're here. If you haven't listened to those past 48 episodes, I highly recommend that you do that. There are so many great, great episodes, all kinds of different topics of discussion that all have to do with the taboo, pelvic health, how you can really apply these pieces of pelvic health knowledge to your life. And oh my goodness, okay, I'm going to get a little comfortable in my chair, in my seat with my notes, because I do have a lot to share with you. And I really, with this first episode, which I haven't done a solo episode since literally episode one, to talk about where I'm at in my journey. And I also just wanted to share with you this upcoming change to season three and how that's actually going to look for you and how I think it's actually going to be very, very helpful. So, let's just hone in for a moment on where I'm at right now as I'm recording this, which is technically 2 days before I want to launch this whole season. I turned 35 last week, and that was an amazing, amazing day and weekend with family. And I've just been reflecting, I guess, on the past year with my practice and where I'm at in my life's journey. And to be completely honest, completely frank, I have sat with many people already for this podcast, the guest episodes, and we've been talking a lot about what I have been working through in the past year. And whether that was indirect and I'm sharing them in the guest conversations, doesn't necessarily matter, but I will tell you, I have done a lot over the past year. I have committed back into my 75 her protocol for myself. And I did that for my birthday last year. And that was extremely, extremely helpful. I was going through an internal rough patch with how I felt in my body. And I knew that a part of that was because I hadn't been committed to the way that actually feels good in my body to eat and to move. And so I went all through that, which for me personally, it does lead into the sensation of how do I actually feel in my body from a standpoint of pleasure and excitement, to feel sexy, to feel confident. I'd say I still, on the surface, looked like myself. I looked good, but there was like an internal feeling that I wasn't comfortable with. And I knew that generally it was a sense of like no self connection or disappearing. It felt like fleeting self connection, which I usually can easily grasp on into in my meal making habits and cooking for myself. I love to cook for myself. I love when people cook for me too, but I'm starting to be a little more particular about what it is I'm putting into my body. And that kind of leads into from a the eating, the moving, the recognizing my self-confidence dipping. It was a really cool progression of how I was really searching for a mentor last year, someone who could guide me also in basically what I was teaching in vaginal alchemy. Like I really wanted to be held. And I got to do that with Caroline D'Arcy at the end of last year. She was a guest in season two. So, again, highly recommend you go listen to her and listen to her stuff. It was the first time that I was held in a container where we were guided in hands-on practice for an extended period of time. We were working together in a small group for 4 months, and it was beyond. It was so amazing. The women in there were incredible, and it allowed me a place to actually like break down, to break through the lens of somatic, sexological bodywork, healing, and sexual energy, which she has great perspective on. She like reads through the energy so clearly, and I really needed that. So that led to the beginning of this year where I was like, okay, I need to integrate a lot of this stuff. I need to integrate what I learned about my sexual energy and what I was actually afraid of. I was actually afraid of showing up really big. I was afraid of taking vaginal alchemy work and really making it accessible. I was really scared of sharing my voice. And two different things happened. I got asked to do this event, a free event called The Calling. And this was with Jennifer Adishian's group. And it's a global network of women all trying to build something, but just so that you know that the other women are doing things out there as well. And again, to know that you can't or shouldn't have to do it alone. And I was asked to be a guest speaker, and I was talking about cycle syncing, which felt really, really good to share from the aspect of business and communication and how are you aligning your business to your cycle and giving tangible, practical ways to do that. And in the beginning, on the first day, there was a woman there guiding a meditation, like a live meditation experience, and her name's Eileen Miles. Amazing, incredible. I like feel like I'm in Ludio right now, so I can't think of any other adjectives besides amazing and incredible to describe women right now, but that's truly how I feel. Um, I was shook by her voice, her cadence. Like, I loved everything about how she presented live, and it re inspired me. When I looked into her, she's on Insight Timer, which is a free meditation app. There are paid levels of it, and I know Insight Timer pretty dang well. I use it every single day. I use it every night to help me fall asleep. James and I were very consistent, not currently, but we had been on meditating for 10 minutes every single morning upon waking up. But that has since changed because his schedule has changed. So we do listen to it though every night. And I have friends who are also on it. Shout out Katie O'Connor because she is an incredible teacher on Insight Timer. And it's always been an interest, a modality of mine that I'm wanting to cultivate and share. Because if you are not a listener or you're not a client of mine, you're not a friend of mine, you've never taken my yoga classes, which some are recorded from 2020 and they're all for free on YouTube. I love to guide in those types of ways. And I think I used to get my fix a lot actually in the yoga studio teaching live classes. Now I currently get my fix on guiding these like meditative hands-on experiences through my one-on-ones. And I'm finding myself wanting to do more of those. So, like I said, two things happened. So, one was experiencing Eileen and then getting remotivated to share these meditations. However, as I've been putting them on Insight Timer, I'm noticing not a lot of people know what Insight Timer is. They are experiencing some friction around downloading a new app. Maybe it's just not something that is calling to them. I'm making the meditations that I'm sharing there very specific, and they are a lot of the times inspired by current clients, past clients, my own inner experience of what I would want if I were going through that particular thing, that issue, transformation of some kind. So hold, put a pin in that because I'm going to come back to it. Second thing that happened was I got this download of a word that I wanted to embody for this year. And I believe I got that in January or February, early February. And the word is dynamic, but in a noun way, dynamism. I don't know why it came out like that, but I think that's what it is. Dynamism. And to me, dynamic is tricky because I've never, I've been able to be explosive in certain ways and able to pivot in certain ways. And I've been able to be fast, but that's to me not even what dynamic really is. And that's when I really got interested in Connor Milstein's work. I've known of Connor's work for a while now because of my friend Lauren Neese. And I know I'm like totally name dropping here all of these people, but again, they are all such wise people that have pieces that add to my journey, right? These are people in my life that I'm really grateful for. So don't mind me while I keep doing that. But Lauren had been working with Connor, and I started to get like enthralled by Connor's workouts that he puts on his Instagram. I had a call with him. We talked through a lot of the things that I was feeling and that I wanted to experience, which, okay, again, a tiny little pin, but also a tiny little uh, breadcrumb, I guess, for you is we ended up talking about one of my main goals or my main intentions for wanting to become dynamic. And that is having a home birth and being able to experience this huge range, which for me, when I think about vaginal alchemy, when I think about sex, when I think about birth, like that is all the same energy. That is life force energy. That is creative energy. So I want to live in this range that isn't like a small accordion. And I talk about this a lot in vaginal alchemy, actually. But I desire to live in this bigger wave, reaching or being able to access. That's what it is. It's not about being quick. It's about being able to access when I need to this high level intensity. It's being able to access this low, grounded, centered sense of self. That to me is what dynamism is. That is what being dynamic is. And Connor does it through the lens of the body. So through movement, noticing where you find these limitations, these restrictions, like that's what we actually talked about in an upcoming guest episode. He came on the podcast and we talked about my goals. We talked about what his philosophies are around it. So that's a little teaser for you. But those two things happened where I experienced Eileen's meditation. I started working with Connor and feeling these movements. Feeling the physical limitations and restrictions, but then bursting past that. And so, since I think it was March, I started sharing about these meditations. I started sharing more about vaginal alchemy. I made it into a self-paced course. This is all what's happening right now that I'm very excited about. And I want to use the podcast as a way to tie these things all together while still bringing in new thought leaders, new experts, new experiences for you. So while I look down at my notes really quickly, I'll just say it happens a lot when you start to put out quote unquote new work. Obviously, vaginal alchemy has been alive for the past year and a half, almost year and a half, 2 years. And it's it's already and continues to work me energetically and is having me show up differently. I was actually looking through a lot of old videos past where I was teaching, and my voice has completely changed. And if you're so unaware of like, oh, the voice, pelvic floor, like what does that have? What is that? What's that connection? Oh, there's a connection for dang sure. And Dr. Sharon Dickerson in season 1 and 2, she and I actually talk about that connection to your mouth, your throat, your voice, and your pelvic bowl, your pelvic floor, your pelvic organs, your diaphragm around your midsection. All of these things are connected, not just on a physical level, but energetically. And so I'll just say I'm feeling that inner working that's happening. And while I continue to do Connor's work and I'm continuing to share more loudly about vaginal alchemy and about my one-on-one sessions and just about these meditations that I'm really passionate about, there are quite a few other things that I'm wanting to share with you. So let me just give you another glimpse of what is to come in season 3 of the Pelvic Pulse podcast and what you can expect from me. I haven't laid down all of the exact details quite yet, like dates and such, but in my head, I am thinking this is going to be one of four solo episodes. And in these solo episodes, I actually really want to do a better job of sharing my own experience, using my voice to also share anonymously about some of my clients' experiences, their transformations, their current issues, how I would approach those issues, and their success stories, of course. If someone is willing to come on, of course, I would love to have that conversation. But, I want to acknowledge how sometimes this work is taboo, but not even taboo. It's so private because it's sacred. Let me say that again. It's so private because it's sacred. And I want to honor that sacredness for people. And it's not that I would divulge a ton of information about anyone because obviously HIPAA, if I want to continue to work with people, I feel like they have to know that I'm keeping their their things private, their information private, which of course I will. But I think these threads, these trends that I'm seeing in people's bodies, I want to name those and share them with you so that you can also keep a lookout in your body, in your world. So that's what I mean by sharing those stories. Next, I'm going to be still doing these guest episodes. And these guests that are coming on, oh my gosh, I feel like just off the top of my head, I recorded so long ago with Alexandra Cole. We got to talk about human design and sexuality, so that's coming. And then I did get to speak with Connor. I got to speak with a couple of other experts in their fields. I'm going to speak with a woman who's designing an endometriosis app, Juliet, and I'm incredibly excited for those. I think they're going to lead to a lot more like rich understanding and conversation for people with regards to certain, um, not diagnoses, but certain experiences you're going through. And then last but not least, I am going to be sharing these meditations. The ones that I've been putting on Insight Timer are going to be reworked a little bit and put onto Spotify and Apple, maybe not YouTube. I'm not sure yet. But these episodes are going to be ones that you can actually, you don't need to learn anything. You get to experience the magic of these meditations. You get to experience a sliver. This is a sliver of the vaginal alchemy work that gets to be tried on in your own body. So each of them will, again, like I said, have different themes, different intentions, different, yeah, just themes. Like you can think sexual health, well-being, you can think pregnancy, postpartum support, you can think pain, nervous system regulation, you can think just somatics for your root. And I'm actually quite surprised that Insight Timer has let me put as much as I have on there. But I feel like I'm going to be less restricted with the types of meditations I do want to share. I'll be less restricted in my words and the choice of words so that I can not allude to something, but actually be very, very clear about what it is I'm guiding you in. So that's what I'm really looking forward to in season 3 with regards to these meditations. I hope that they entice you to sit with your body and be with your life force energy, your creative energy, your sexual energy, all one and the same. I I think and what I have seen in myself and in others is that when you do take that time to do it, you walk around the world just in a different way. You walk out with your pelvis, your feet really grounded, your heart up, sternum up, head back, where you can just take in the world and move in the way you want to move. You can make the impact you want to make in your home life, family life, beyond immediate family into extended family. You can make waves in your work, your business, your school. I'm I'm seeing a lot more willing women to do this. And that's not to say that there aren't men who need this as well. Stay tuned on that. We'll see. But again, I just really want to say thank you to close us out for this first solo episode of season 3. I want to say thank you for being here. If you've been here from the beginning, like rewind into crowdfunding days, if you supported this podcast monetarily to help me actually get it going and to help me keep it going, I'm really, really grateful. I think if you want to help me really reach this goal of, I mean, it sounds probably very small if you're someone who knows podcasting world, but I really want to reach 20,000 downloads this year. And we're already about halfway there. We're at around 10K, just shy. And I want to explode. I want this information, these conversations to really explode. I want you guys to use these meditations on repeat if you find them helpful. I also, oh, side note, extra note, if you have any requests for certain meditations or certain guests, let me know. Send me an email, hello@wearebeingbetter.com, or drop me a DM on Instagram, b.ellers. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear if a podcast episode in particular from the past has broadened your perspective, your awareness. Like I really want this to be a dynamic conversation. That was kind of pun intended, but I truly mean that. And I'm really, again, thankful that you've been here, that you listen, that you hopefully are subscribed, and that you've rated and reviewed this podcast. You can subscribe anywhere you're listening right now, whether that's Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere else. Okay. Yes, I think we're done. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.